Hi. already already ruined. Hello. Okay, hi. Hi, my name is Grace. Welcome to Naked.Graced. And this is the very first podcast. I don't really know how people who aren't actually famous do this because you normally already know what they stand for, so they don't really have to like introduce themselves on the podcast. But I'm Grace. Hello, hi. I I hate the sound of my own voice. I don't know why I'm doing a podcast. I'm deeply unqualified. Not a therapist, not a psychologist. Did like one elective in poly. That's about it. But basically, Naked.Graced is all about me just bearing my heart and my soul, telling you my true, authentic stories, being as vulnerable as I can without implicating anyone else. And also because of like the influences in my life, like Brene Brown, her podcast and her books, Lindsay C. Gibson, who's an author of Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. That book is very, very heavy. Don't read it unless you're ready. And also shout out to my therapist Beata from Energizing Goals. These women have had such an impact on my life and in me believing that I don't know, like life is just more worth living when you're living it wholeheartedly, when you're more honest, when you're more real, when you're telling the truth. So that's kind of why I'm starting this podcast. It's just for me to tell my stories. Slightly narcissistic, I don't know, Leo season, whatever. Why am I doing it now? Firstly, it's because I have a lot of time on my hands. I've recently been diagnosed with osteoarthritis, which is a very, very old woman condition. So that broke me, and I'm going to deep dive into that today about how body dysmorphia and eating disorders have affected my life in the long run, and how it's not just a mental health problem, it's a physical health problem. And so that's why I'm starting that podcast now, because I have time. And I'm very good at procrastinating, so I will try not to. We'll get into that in another episode. But for today, I just want to talk a little bit about me, a little bit about why we're doing this, a little bit about what I'm going through, and how you and I can stop the cycle of bullying, of not being the part of the problem of body dysmorphia and eating disorders, and I'm gonna ramble on a little bit because I honestly, how do people do this? Seriously, I don't get it. I really don't know. Anyways, okay. So Grace, me, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I have spent a lot of time trying to let go of my idea of what is perfect, let go of control, let go of what I thought was the rules of life, where I should be, where I could be, what I need to do. So this year was my sabbatical year. After having worked in a full-time job since I was 19, I'm 32 this year. So most people don't go into full-time jobs at 19 unless they really are forced to. And I realized recently that I did it to protect myself so that I could have enough money to move out of my parents' house if I had to. But thankfully they were very loving and kind, and they did not kick me out of the house when I left church. Also, we'll get into that in another topic. So a lot of things to talk about. But I think this podcast will be particularly relevant for you, especially if you are brought up in an Asian family, Singaporean family, if you are female, and I don't know, if you are in the 30s age range, because then I hope this resonates with you in some way. Alright, so eating disorders. How did I get eating disorders? It really started from like a really young age. My mom's a petite woman. She's like maybe 10 to 15 cm shorter than I am. So for her, when she was 12 years old, she had to help my grandpa out in their family business, which was the drink store at the army camp in Bedok. So she would be helping to carry like really heavy cartons. She was really, really strong, and she is the oldest of 4 girls, so she was always kind of like their rock, you know? And she was always the most responsible one, the one like carrying shit and everything. So for her, like, she was always really athletic, really slim. She was like 40 kg, and she always made sure I knew that she was 40 kg when she was my age. I, on the other hand, have the big bones of my father's side. I have been my height, about 165 cm, since I was 11, 12 years old. And because I am taller, I weigh more. And I'm also chubbier. That's just kind of in my genetics. If I eat whatever I wanted to, which my body naturally just craves, like fried chicken and french fries and like all sorts of potatoes in any form, sign me up. Carbs, yes. Fried stuff, yes. Yeah. And that's just kind of my genetic build-up, you know. So in my dad's side, a lot of us are like a bit bigger, and so it was always kind of like, my mom was like, why aren't you 40 kg? I was 40 kg when I was your age. And I don't blame her, because back then science wasn't developed to the point where we understood how genetics makeup affects our physique. BMI was kind of like the measurement of like how healthy you are, and now we know that's complete BS. Yeah, so there was like my mom, and I remember one like story which is like funny now, but back then I just wanted to like die, like just kill me. We were shopping, and I really hated shopping back then because it was just so hard finding clothes in my size, or it was really embarrassing. So one time she found like underwear that fit me, and we're in this like shop, and she like shouts across she shouts across the entire store, "Agla, here got XL." And I was like, just kill me. And I think that's where I learned to use humor to like, you know, become an armor for me. I tried to laugh it off. I tried to make, you know, just like, it's okay, it's funny, it's like, ha, they found my clothes in XL. It's a funny story now, but I mean, I think the fact that it has stuck with me for over 20 years shows that was kind of traumatic, and I don't blame my mom at all. I love her to death, It's just something that happened back then, you know. And in primary school, if you're Singaporean, you would know TAF Club. TAF Club is TAF, and it's an acronym for Trim and Fit Club. Literally, they could have used any other term, but they decided to go for Trim and Fit Club, which, if you flip it, it's Fat Club. It's Fat Club. Literally, it's Fat Club, and kids are mean, and they put me in Fat Club. So the way it worked in my school was that all the fat kids, or like the overweight kids, or the chubby kids, as they deemed us, you know, and they would laugh at us as they had their fun. During recess time, we'll be in the parade square running laps, while everyone else was in the canteen where they had full view of all of us struggling to run laps. We weren't allowed to eat until the last like 5 or 10 minutes of recess time, and everyone else was just having fun and playing, you know. So I learned from that age that if I ran a lot, if I did a lot of cardio, and if I ate very little, I would be the ideal size. People would stop making fun of me, and I'll be accepted and loved by society, and boys would think I'm cute. Yeah, and so kind of that's kind of where it started from. And to add on to that, being Chinese, every Chinese New Year, someone will talk about my weight. It's either like, oh, you've gained weight, or oh, you've lost weight and you look prettier now. Please don't ever say that to anyone, please, okay? Or don't even say shit like you're pretty for a fat girl, or like you're pretty for a chubby girl. Jesus Christ, I have so many things. Okay, we'll get to that later. But Chinese New Year was such a trigger point for me. I was always so worried about what to wear. what my relatives would say about my weight. So Chinese New Year was also a trigger point. And over the years, all of these things added up, and like even hanging out with friends, like when my older friends got their car license and we would go on rides, it was always like an awkward situation because I was the biggest girl, and then people would kind of like look around like, oh, who sits where, and then they're like, oh, Grace, maybe you can sit in front. It was just kind of like a roundabout way of saying like we need to squeeze in the back and we don't really want to squeeze with the biggest girl. And I know they were trying to be nice, but I felt it and it stuck with me, okay? So it's kind of stayed in my system, and the mind and body connection is very, very strong. So my mind told my body, run, and eat very, very little. And then you will be skinny, and then you will be loved, and then the boys will want you, and then your parents will be proud of you, and at Chinese New Year, nobody will make fun of your weight, and people will say, oh, you look really good this year. And that's kind of all I was searching for, was love and validation, and the need to feel like I was worthy of love. And there was also an abusive relationship that I will go into in another time, where I gained an insane amount of weight, and I went from 55 kilograms to 75 kilograms, and in a matter of like 2 years. And it made me feel like because I was so big, no one would ever love me, and I couldn't leave this guy because no one else would ever love me. And I've now learned that that's not true. I've now learned, after years of working on myself, seeking help from a therapist, listening to as many podcasts as I possibly could, and talking to people who also went through the same situations as I have, that now I have learned that I'm lovable, I'm worthy of love, I deserve to be loved, and I don't have to earn it. I don't have to earn it. I am worthy of love just as I am, and you are too, just the way you are. You don't have to be fixed. You don't have to lose weight unless you want to for your health. You don't have to look a certain way. You can do whatever the fuck you want, wear whatever the fuck you want, like weigh whatever you are weighing, and it doesn't matter because you're worthy of love, as am I. And it doesn't matter how you look, because at your funeral, no one's gonna be like, oh, we're so sad, we're gonna miss Grace because she was so hot. That's not what I want people to say about me when I die. I want them to talk about my heart. I want them to talk about my personality. I want them to remember me for who I am as their friend, as their wife, as their partner, as, I don't know, their sister, as their family, as part of their village. And that's what I want now. But back then, younger Grace was not as informed. So at the age of 20, I started running very, very, very long distances, and it was crazy because I ran like marathons without training. I would run 10 km, 20 km on like a regular basis. I would run from Pasir Ris to the CBD where I worked, and then I would run home. I would do that in the wrong footwear. I would do that with basically no food or very little food. Like I would just eat salads for lunch, and I would skip dinner. And I had no nutrition, so my body wasn't repairing itself. I was carrying more weight than my joints could bear, so I wasn't like, I didn't start off running 2 km and then 5 km and then 7 km. I just kind of went, and my joints couldn't take the weight that my body was carrying, but I didn't know it at that time. So that really was the starting point of when my body started to degenerate. And now at age 32, I've recently been diagnosed with, I'm going to try to get this right scientifically or medically. I've recently been diagnosed with bilateral patellofemoral osteoarthritis, which sounds like an old person thing, and it really is. So basically, I played football, got my knee swelled up, I iced it, it was okay. Then I thought, I'm on fire. I made that sick cross. That should have like been a headed goal by my striker. And then I played again. And I also was on fire, so I thought, fuck it, you know what, just ice out this swelling, it'll go away, it'll be fine, and then I can keep playing. Waited a few days, knees looked fine. Played again, and as I left the football pitch that day, my knees buckled. And that's when I realized, like, I've experienced this pain before. I've experienced my knees buckling out of the blue, and that was when I was maybe 23. Or 22 or 21. So basically, I recognized that something was majorly wrong. So I took a step back from football, from bouldering, from working my lower legs in the gym, and all I did was just kind of chill. I thought I'd just play goalkeeper, you know, I'd be like, I don't run much, just keep the ball out, you know. And then a month of doing that, where my muscles have really began to atrophy, I was trying to swipe something off my leg, and I just kind of flicked my leg upwards, and I felt a really sharp pain, and I was like, fuck me, I've torn my MCL. I think I better get an MRI scan. So I got an MRI scan. The scan came back, and the look on my doctor's kind face was like, he was just so concerned. So he asked about my fitness background or my exercise routine in the last like 5 years. And I told him in the last 5 years, honestly, I've done a lot. I've invested my time and money into a personal trainer, into an online training program, the gym membership. I've also spent time in yoga studios to do like work on my mobility. So my routine was kind of like this. I would do football maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I would be in the gym 2 or 3 times a week, depending on football. And then I'd be at yoga twice a week. And on top of that, I would go for sports massages. At home, I would foam roll. And I've been pretty diligent, you know. I take my protein shakes, I eat protein bars, and I was really genuinely taking care of my body. So after years of feeling unloved, unworthy, also shout out to my husband Josh. Sorry Mike, you were the first one who really showed me that I was capable of being loved regardless of my shape or size. Because when he first met me, I was not at peak fitness. When he met me again, I was also not at peak fitness, and I was like a little bit chubby. I wasn't as strong as I am now. So just for context, when he met me, I could do 0 pull-ups, and now I can do 5 pull-ups, which is a huge accomplishment for me. So personally, at the peak of my kind of like physical and mental health, like I could do 5 pull-ups, I was hitting like all my personal bests on every lift. Mentally, I feel like I'm in such a healthy space, I'm happy, I'm content. I don't know what to do with my life, like job-wise or like career-wise or whatever the alternative is. Give me a second, just throat clear. But also, like I just feel like everything has fallen into place for me, and I'm happy. I'm so happy for once. I'm peak performing, I'm peak happy, I'm peak everything. And then I get the MRI scans and the results that say you have osteoarthritis. So when my doctor asked me about my last 5 years of like fitness routine, I said I don't think it was the last 5 years. I think it's the last 10, 15 years. I think I've started injuring myself since I was in secondary school, when I ran too much without any knowledge, without any training, without any understanding of nutrition or the right gear or technique. And that's kind of when I started developing osteoarthritis in both my knees, and I didn't even know until now. So when I got the news, I was driving home on my own, rather dramatic, okay, it was like raining. It was raining. Adele's on Adele's on my Spotify. I'm like crying. I'm like, I have osteoarthritis. I might have to get total knee replacements when I'm 50. I'm only 32. And in my mind, I had finally switched my mindset from wanting to be a certain size or a certain weight to I don't know what my weight is. I hardly weigh myself unless I'm at the gym, and then I just want to see like maybe once every 2 weeks, I just see how much I weigh. But I don't like obsessively weigh myself every hour of the day like I used to. The weighing scale at home ran out of batteries, and we just kind of decided to chuck the weighing scale because we don't need it. Don't weigh yourself every day, please. Please don't weigh yourself every day, okay? So like I finally felt like my mentality towards fitness, sports, and health moved from wanting to be a certain size or a certain weight to finally being long-term thinking about like longevity. There are like mountains I want to climb, there are hikes I want to make, there are oceans I want to dive in and surf in, there are countries I have yet to visit, there are so many football games I would love to be a part of. There are so many people that I have finally met who have made football so fun for me, and I just want to play with them. I just want to be around these people who make my life feel great. There are people who make me feel like I belong and I'm part of a team. And so finally I've reached a point where I thought, okay, you know what, I want to play football till I'm in my 70s. I want to be like an old ass like weightlifter where people are like, damn, that old auntie lifting like 100 kg, fuck yeah. And then I get like osteoarthritis. The irony, right? So that was like a really big blow for me emotionally. I cried, and then the very first surgery slot that was open, I was like, give that to me, because I'm not quitting. I'm not here to I'm not about to give up football for swimming. I'm not about to give up boxing and football and bouldering and hiking and climbing crazy mountains, surfing, jumping off cliffs. I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm going to keep doing those things because I want to live wholeheartedly. And if that means that I have to be diligent at physio, I have to up my protein intake, if I have to do all these things, if I have to go through a surgery, I'm gonna do it. And in my mind, I'm like, it's chill, right? Like, I just go for a surgery, I'm in GA, and then they're like, oh, you're gonna be in a brace and crutches for like 3 to 6 weeks, and then it's rehab, and then maybe by mid next year, you're back on the pitch. So I'm like, yeah, I can do this. I've got grit. I can do this. If I can go from my anorexic 46 kg to a healthy 55 kg to overweight 75 kg to back to healthy 55 kg, if I've done that before, I can do it again. And that's the mindset I went in, with this. And honestly, I am thankful that I went through what I did, because it has helped and it has paid off. It's been, I think, close to week 3 post-surgery, and it's been ups and downs, and honestly the endurance mentally and physically has paid off immensely, but it's been rough. It has been rough. There are some days where I feel like, fuck yeah, I'm a crutches pro, and then there are days where I just sit down and cry because I feel so useless. I feel like my partner has to do everything around the house. He has to walk the dogs, he has to do the laundry, and he's earning all the money, and I'm just like some useless old woman / big baby who can't like carry a bowl of hot soup to the table. I used to cook, I used to clean, at least I was helpful in my way, And that's really actually also opened my eyes to the idea of productivity and unproductivity, usefulness versus unusefulness, and I'm trying to come to terms that it's seasonal, that it comes in waves, comes in ebbs and flows. So my recovery journey, anyways, back to that. So my first ever shower, jeez, it was insane. I have to wear these things called limbos, if you look that up. I affectionately call them my leg condoms because yeah, that's their function, is they just keep your legs dry and you kind of put it on like a condom. Yeah, so I have my leg condoms and I'm usually a really quick showerer. I hate showering. I feel like it takes up too much time. I'm like in and out like within like 5 to 10 minutes, and all of a sudden showering takes like half an hour. And then there's drying my hair, and then there's doing like the rehab exercises, which is so humbling. I'm used to lifting like 80 kilograms, 100 kilograms, and now I'm like struggling on just doing straight leg lifts or abductor lateral raises kind of thing, you know. So I was really humbled by that. Yeah. So there were days where I'm like, hey, I've got this, and then there are days, you hear that, guys? My voice is like, but there are days where I just really felt like, oh my fucking god, I have so long to go in this recovery process, and it's a long recovery process. Yeah, so there was one particular day, I think it was like day 2 or 3, I was doing pull-ups. I'm like, fuck yeah, I still can do pull-ups. I walked like 1,300 steps. I was really excited about that. And then as I sat down to dinner and realized I couldn't even get my own chair in closer to the dinner table, I literally just sat there and cried again because I'm like, I really have to start from scratch. And I really felt so useless. And then the next day happens, and then I go through it again. Take your protein, take your supplements, do your rehab, try to get as many steps in as possible, wait for the next doctor appointment, wait for the next physio appointment. And it's really ups and downs, and like that, I was warned about this. I was warned about this before the surgery, that both the recovery and the emotional recovery wouldn't be linear. I knew it in my mind, I thought I processed it, but I did not until you actually go through it yourself. And then you truly understand what it's like to kind of go up like on a high where like, yeah, I got this, and then the low of like, I'm an old woman / giant baby / useless human. But I guess at the end of the day, I've come to terms that I am a human being, not a human doing. And right now, this isn't a permanent state of me not being able to help around the house. This isn't a permanent state of me being in crutches and brace. It's just week 3, and there's a long way to go, but I will get there and I'll get back on the pitch, not because of some goal I put for myself, but because I fucking love football. I love the sport, I love the people I play with, and I plan to do this for a very long time. I'm not about to switch out my sports for swimming just because it's like lesser impact on my joints. What I will do instead is to train up my body, is to build up my muscles so that I am protected from getting injured, and the rest of my body can help these old knees go on for a much longer time. And I think at the end of the day, what I want to say is that eating disorders and body dysmorphia, I wouldn't be here with osteoarthritis if I didn't have to battle that. I wouldn't be here at age 32 with osteoarthritis in both my knees if I didn't suffer through all those years of bullying and indoctrination that you have to look a certain way in order to feel beautiful or loved or worthy or valuable or valued, you know. I heard this somewhere, and I don't know, so whoever wrote this, you're a genius, I'm just quoting you. It says, I remember saying that you don't try to squeeze your feet into a smaller shoe size, so why do that to your body? And I think that's amazing because it's true, we are born with certain feet size, we are born with a genetic makeup of our body. So if we're not trying to change our feet size, why are we trying to change our body size? Why don't we just work with what we have? Because this is just a meat sack. This is just a body that helps us do amazing, incredible things with our lives. And that's all that matters, really, is what's inside. It's what your story is. It's what's in your heart. It's about authenticity. It's about authenticity and vulnerability. And it's just about being a real human being. A real human being where it's messy, it's ugly, it's uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable, but I've never felt more alive in my life. And back to eating disorders and body dysmorphia. Here's how you and I can stop being part of the problem. Maybe we can't fix it. Maybe we are not all psychiatrists and we are not all therapists who can help people, or counselors. Maybe not all of us are parents. Maybe not all of us have influence over any school or fitness kind of, space. But if you are not, one way you can just make it easy for everyone else who's trying to deal with their bodies and how they look. Just don't talk about their bodies, man. Just shut the fuck up about people's bodies. If you see someone, just don't say you've gained weight. Don't poke fun at them. It's so simple. Don't poke fun at them. Don't be like, hey, haha, fatty. Don't be like, oh, gain a few pounds in that holiday, huh? That kind of thing. On the flip side, don't even say you've lost weight. Don't even say, oh, you're so pretty for a chubby girl, or you're looking good for a big guy. You know what I mean? Like, firstly, maybe they weren't even thinking about their bodies in that moment. Maybe they were thinking about something else. Maybe they were admiring nature. Maybe they're looking at something else that happened along the road. Or maybe that day they were just having a great ass day and they're feeling awesome. And then you say, hi, hey, you look great because you lost weight. All of a sudden, you're brought back into thinking about your body. You're thinking, wait, did I not look good before? Was I not worth loving before I lost weight? So just one simple thing, just don't talk about someone's body. Whether it's behind their backs, in front of their faces, just don't talk about their body. Good or bad, don't talk about their body. There's so many other ways you can compliment someone if you want to compliment them. Compliment their smile, they have a great smile. Compliment their personality, compliment their energy, compliment their heart, compliment who they are as a person, as a human being, not how they look. This outside is just physical. It's just a meat sack. It just helps us live a whole, true, and authentic life. And yeah, no one's gonna be a funeral being like, yo, that guy had abs, man. Although Josh, you got abs. But just don't go talk about someone's body. And that's just kind of the simplest way that you and I, we can stop being part of the problem. We can break the cycle for the next generation. Is that Chinese New Year, don't talk about their bodies. I don't know about other cultures, whether during your celebrations, whether people also talk about your bodies, but if they do, don't be part of the problem. Just don't be part of the problem. Don't talk about their bodies at all. At all. And the other way, if you are in a place of power, if you're in an institution and tough club, stop bullying. Stop using BMI as a measure of success, of healthiness. It is not. There was an incredibly athletic guy in tough club. He was, I think, a sprinter. He had massive quads and thighs, and he was so fast. And he was still put in tough club because he was overweight based on BMI. We now know in modern science that is just not how it works. That muscles weigh more than fats. And just because you have more muscle and puts you over the BMI limit, it doesn't make you overweight. You just have more muscles. So really BMI is not the factor. So if anyone tells you you're overweight based on your BMI, don't listen to them. It's fucking BS. I don't know. Also, if you just notice, I swear a lot on this podcast, and I probably will keep swearing. Yeah, not really a PG-13 kind of thing. I don't really know how to end this because I don't really know how people do podcasts, as you can tell. I just feel like if I can tell you something about my life and it resonates with you and you feel the same way I do, maybe it made a day, maybe just me rambling around. I don't know, if you're walking around listening to this ramble, you're like, okay, cool. I just hope it feels like you're talking to a friend. Feel free to reach out on my Instagram, Naked.Graced. Yeah, I don't know. Just don't be part of the problem. And however you look like, however you think you look like, you're perfect just the way you are. And I don't know, don't feel the need to fit into that particular dress or pants for guys or shirt. Don't feel the need to look a certain way for your wedding or like for whatever big event. Like, fuck that shit. It's not important. Who you are is important. Who you are as a human being is what counts. And yeah, I don't know how to end this, so I'm just gonna say bye. Bye.